So this year we're celebrating 10 years of Be Clever with Your Cash. And earlier in the year, I did a video, my top 10 money hacks, and it was really hard to get a list down into 10. So throughout the year, I'm going to do more of these top 10 lists, but looking specifically at certain areas of personal finance. And this one is my top 10 credit card hacks. Now, before we get into them, I do very quickly just want to say, really, really important with any kind of credit card is you're only ideally using them for your everyday spending that you can afford. It's very easy if you don't manage them properly, and I've got some hacks for doing that later on. If you don't do that properly, where your spending can get out of control, and if you aren't clearing the balance completely every single month, then interest gets charged, and if you miss payments, there can be defaults, and they can hurt your credit score. So again, this is about people who can and will responsibly use the credit card. This is where these hacks come into play. Now, the first hack is something which I hope a lot of you know, because I do talk about it quite a lot, but it is really important, and I know some people don't know about it. So I'm going to mention it first of all. Hack number one is to use an eligibility checker before applying for that credit card. I know some of you think that's really simple. I know that, but a lot of you don't. And this is very simple, because if you just go straight to a credit card company and apply for a card, what will happen is a hard search will appear on your credit report. And whether you are successful or not, that is on there. The more of these hard searches you have on your credit report, the harder it's going to be for you to get any kind of credit in the short term, if not the longer term as well. So that could be a bank switching deal, it could be a remortgaging, it could be a mobile phone contract. So it's really, really important if you can to limit the number of these hard searches. And the way around that is to do this eligibility search. And that's a soft check on your report, which doesn't appear to anyone. No other lenders can see this, okay? So if you decide not to progress with that application, then nothing will appear on there at all. And basically, it gives you a sense of how likely it is you're going to be accepted, maybe the idea of what size of your credit limit might be, and all of that kind of stuff. But the real hack here, the next level hack of this, is to do this eligibility search on a comparison site, because this is going to give you a range of different credit card options. This is particularly good when you're looking at things like balance transfer credit cards, when you're really trying to find the best card for you to reduce the cost of your debts. For other credit cards, maybe less so, because you're probably going for a specific product, specific reward that might be going on. But even so, they're worth having a look at that. And it helps you decide if something's got a choice of 2 out of 10, 5 out of 10, and 8 out of 10, well, you've got a better chance of getting the one with 8 out of 10. So maybe that's the one you go for. Again, really, really useful there. That's hack number one. Hack number two is an interim level. So after you've done this eligibility search, you can, of course, just go and apply for the card straight off the bat at the credit card company or via that comparison site. But I would do something in between, and I would have a quick look around for any extra bonuses that you might be able to get. And these are generally found via comparison sites like Top Cashback or Quidco, or potentially there could be a refer a friend link that they can give you where they'll get a bit of a kickback and you'll get a little bit of money for applying. And what's great about these little extra offers is that they are almost always in addition to any other promos or welcome bonuses you might be getting from the credit cards. It's a nice way of getting that extra bit of cash on top, which I think a lot of people miss this and they go straight through and apply for the credit card. Now, hack number three applies to the welcome bonuses, and they in themselves, they're not a hack. You guys know about this. I talk about this all the time. Particularly a good idea to apply for these when they are boosted, when those offers are increased. But again, that's not a hack. The hack is you are not limited to just one of these welcome bonuses. There are ways around this. Now, American Express, for example, they say you can only get a welcome bonus if you haven't had an Amex card in your name in the last 2 years. So one way around this is once you've got your welcome bonus or you've used up that card for the year, whatever it might be, is to cancel that card. Stop it. Get rid of all your Amex cards and wait for 2 years. Have that process going. So in 2 years' time, you can apply again and get another welcome bonus. And if you want to take this third hack a little bit further, in that time in between, if you've got a partner, they could apply for a card in their name, get the welcome bonus there, do that for a year. Once they've got the points, whatever it might be, they cancel that card and then they start their 2-year period. So basically, you're going to keep doing this cycle round and round and round where you're always going to be able to get a welcome bonus every couple of years. So that is a really nice little way of doing it. Of course, some other cards will do the same thing. Barclaycard, Virgin Atlantic cards, do look at those. They might have a similar length of period in between cards, so you can repeat that there. With American Express, there is another level of hacking within this one as well about multiple welcome bonuses. And this is depending on which card you go for first of all. Now, I have covered this in a lot more detail earlier this year, so I'm not going to repeat myself in detail. I'll let you watch that content. But basically, if you have got the Platinum Cashback credit card or the Nexa credit card from American Express as your first card, they do not rule you out of bonuses on the Amex Platinum or the British Airways American Express Premium Plus credit cards. Now, those other cards have hefty fees. They're not going to be for everyone, but they are potentially, particularly when those offers are boosted, great opportunities to get up to 3 different welcome offers before you then start that kind of period where you cancel it and wait another 2 years before something comes along. Now, hack number 4 relates to those welcome bonuses, whichever credit card company you're with. They always have a trigger, an amount of money you have to spend in order for that bonus, whether it's points or cashback or whatever features, to be added to your account. Or potentially if you're collecting those companion vouchers, which you often get with some of the Avios and British Airways Amex cards or the other kind of flight ones where you can get 2-for-1 flights, they require you to spend X amount. Now that might be fine. Particularly those of you who have business expenses, they're the ones who really can kind of rack up a lot of spending, a lot of points on credit cards quite easily. But for everyone else, day-to-day spending, that can be a bit tougher. And this is where the hack comes in. This is to get a supplementary card. A supplementary card is an additional card linked to your account in somebody else's name. That card will have their name on it, but it's not their card, so to speak. The account is still yours. Any spending they do with that supplementary card will count towards your account and the total that you're trying to achieve. Now, that can be a great way to get some of those particularly high spend thresholds for some of those really, really big bonuses or those companion vouchers, because all your spending together and individually will count towards it. Now, you do have to be careful here. You can't just give them willy-nilly out to everyone because you're going to be paying that bill. So generally, I'm thinking here is really about your partner. Just make sure they fully understand that you might be all across credit cards. They might not have such a good relationship with credit cards. They might not fully understand it because they're putting money on it and they're not seeing anything because you're paying the bill. So make sure they do understand this again, as it should be with yours, just spending you can afford that is your normal everyday stuff and not going too crazy. And with that, little bit of warning, remember, with those welcome bonuses, don't go for them. It's buying things just to trigger a bonus because, again, ultimately, it's not going to kind of probably weigh out in the long term if you can't afford it. You're probably spending money to get something when if you didn't spend the money in the first place, you'd probably be better off. Now, hack number 5 is another spending tip here. And you might be aware of this. It's something called Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act. And what this means is if you buy something with a credit card that costs more than £100 and less than £30,000, if something was to go wrong, whether that's a hotel shuts down before you can stay or something doesn't arrive in the post that you've ordered online, if you've ordered it with the credit card, paid with the credit card company is equally liable to compensate you as the original retailer or business. In fact, you don't even have to go to the retailer or business if you don't want to. You can go straight to the credit card company in these cases. Particularly handy if those people have gone bust and don't exist anymore or they're not responding to you. So this is really good, right? £100 or more. The other hack below this, though, within this hack, is that the whole amount doesn't need to be on a credit card. You can put just £1, 1 penny, whatever it might be, on the credit card and the rest of it on a debit card, the rest of it on a balance transfer, a bank transfer, whatever it might be. That is fine. It will still count, even if it's just a tiny, tiny amount. And we did this years ago when we had our wedding venue. And in fact, they didn't really want us to put the whole amount. Obviously, you guys been married, you'll know how expensive they are. They didn't want to put the whole amount on a credit card, but they let us put £1 on. And that meant if the venue had gone bust or for whatever reason, then we could have got the whole amount back from the credit card company. And I've used it in the past as well when we had an issue with a sofa and stuff. So really, really important hack to know about there. Just £1 will count. There are some grey areas if you're going by a third party. So for example, if you were buying flights directly from the airline, they'd be covered. But if you bought them through a travel agent, like an online one, like, Expedia or Last Minute or something like that, then potentially there wouldn't be because you've got a middleman in there kind of breaking that chain between you and the credit card company. So just have that in the back of your mind as well. But certainly worth paying with a credit card for those kind of things if you can. Hack number 6 also relates to spending on your credit card. Now, ideally, these cards you've got, they are ones that are going to earn you money. I talk about all these rewards and cashback you can get as you go along, but you can double dip them. You can stack this cashback with other ways of earning money. That could be going back to those cashback sites I said before, like Quidco and Top Cashback. It could be if you're buying a discounted gift card, then maybe it's about using the card that you're using there. Again, is one that earns you some money back. But you can also take this another level as well. Airtime rewards is a great one where you can link Visa and MasterCards, sadly not American Express, to that account. And every time you spend with that card, the retailers behind it, you automatically earn cash back as well. Now, there's not a huge number there, but there are some big names on there like Boots, Greggs, Waitrose. So I've got a John Lewis credit card. I get 1.25% when I spend in Waitrose with that. But underlying that, via airtime rewards, I'll also get another 2 or 3% in cashback, which I'll put towards my mobile bill, stacking those together. And although sadly you can't use Amex with airtime rewards, I know sometimes retailers won't take Amex. You think, I can't earn that cashback. Another hack within this hack is to go via PayPal. Now, PayPal, if the online merchant does accept it, you can use American Express. So even if the retailer says no Amex online, but does take PayPal, you can still make that payment. Although bear in mind that does break that chain I mentioned just now with Section 75. It's a great way if you are trying to get those points, get those minimum spending for those thresholds for bonuses and stuff with your Amex. PayPal could be a way around where places don't accept it. Hack number 7 is for those of you who have exhausted all those different cashback welcome offers and are kind of fed up with them a little bit. And this is something called stoozing. Now, again, I've covered this in more detail separately. So if you want to really dive into this, read that article on becleveryourcash.com or watch that video on the YouTube channel. But stoozing is effectively where you get a 0% money transfer credit card. Now, these come with a fee, normally sort of 3 or 4%. But you transfer the money from that credit card that you've got, the full credit allowance limit you've got, to your bank account. And that money you can do as you wish. So these are often quite good for paying off things like debts like overdrafts or catalog debts, things like that, which you can't use a balance transfer for. That's generally where I talk about using those. But you could instead take that money, put it into a savings account at a higher rate. Now, yes, in sort of where we are in spring 2024 now, interest rates are starting to come down, but you can still get fixed rate accounts of around 5% for, say, a year. If you've got a money transfer credit card that lasts for a year, you might be, and you do have to check the difference between the amount that you've paid in that transfer versus the interest, but you might be able to do that instead. So all the spending you're putting on your credit card, you're not getting charged anything for that amount of time. In the meantime, that chunk of money is earning interest in that savings account, that separate savings account. When the year is up, you get all that money out of that fixed savings account plus the interest, and you use that then to pay off the full amount on that money transfer credit card. So you've hopefully made a profit there, potentially more than just doing a normal cashback spend. There is, however, you need to look into this and just check, because the difference between the fixed rate and the interest rate aren't always making it so worthwhile. If you want to find the best savings rates, head to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. So the hacks so far have covered applying for the card and spending on the card. The next hacks I want to cover include how you actually pay that card and whether you should keep them going. So hack number 8 is a really, really, really useful one that I think for those of you who are a bit uncomfortable with moving all your money onto a cashback credit card because you don't actually really know how much you've spent, because your bank balance is still saying X amount over here, but over there you owe the money. And there is always a danger with this that you get to the end of the month when your statement comes and you've double spent. You spent both on the cashback card and on your debit card or just other sort of bank transfers. Now, I know you guys know this already. Setting up a standing order, a direct debit to automatically pay the full amount every single month is the best way to avoid you forgetting to do this, the best way to make sure that the full amount does get cleared and you avoid interest. But you need to make sure there's enough money in that account. So what you can do, and this is particularly the case with newer banks like Starling and Monzo, but they have these separate accounts called pots or spaces. If you don't have one of these accounts, you could just open up a new current account, a separate current account at a different bank, and have that direct debit for the full credit card payment every single month to come out of that separate pot, space, or current account. And then, as the month goes along, you could do it every day, every week, make a point to go in, see what you spent on that credit card, how much you're currently owing in that time, and transfer it from your main account to this special account, this separate pot or sub account, which is just for paying off the credit card. And this will ensure, if you do this all the time, that you're always going to have enough money set aside to clear that credit card. You are never going to be accidentally spending twice. Now, the last 2 hacks here relate to closing down your cards when you no longer want or need them. Hack number 9 is particularly around ones where you have a fee that might either come into play in the next year and you don't want to do it because it'll be free for the first year, or you've already got that big welcome bonus and you don't want to carry on paying money after that. Well, what I would do here is I would, rather than just cancel the card flat out, I would get on a phone or get on the live chat and see if there's a retention offer, some kind of deal or bonus they can do, which means it's worthwhile you keeping it for another year. That could be they wipe the fee out. They could be you get double points, whatever it might be. It's certainly worth giving it a go. Now, there's no guarantee the offer they offer you is going to be worth taking. So don't just accept it. Do weigh up whether it's going to, the extra points you might get will kind of be worth it based on the fee that you might be paying and things like that. You also could be looking here about a pro rata refund. Now, not so many cards do this now. American Express are going to stop allowing this, but they haven't done it just yet. Certainly it won't go until at least the 1st of August 2024, and who knows after that when they're actually going to introduce this. But potentially you've got a card, you've paid, let's say, 250 quid for it for the year, you've got your welcome bonus, you've got another 6 months on the card, you don't want to keep using it. If they give you a pro rata refund, that means you get half the money back for the year because you've only used 6 months. And so on, if you used it for 8 months of the year, there's 4 months left, then you'd get that third of the fee back. So it's worth asking them again during this chat when you cancel it, pro rata refunds, and if there's any kind of retention offer as well. And the final hack here, number 10, comes to if you don't want to keep a card open for whatever reason, not at all, there's no extra incentives to keep it. Don't cancel it if it's the oldest credit card you've got. Always keep that oldest one open if you can, because longevity, how long you have had a credit card, is a really important signal when it comes to your credit report. We talked about credit reports in hack number 1. We're coming back to it in hack number 10. This is the long length of time is a really, really good signal. So don't cancel that card. Now, if it has a fee attached to it, that's maybe a different matter. But again, you can ask them if they will downgrade you to a free version of that card. And that means you keep that same relationship going. I've done that with Barclaycard. I've had Barclaycard for a long time. I've had about 3 different credit cards with them, moving up and down within the cards. I've kept that long history with them. So well worth doing that if you can. So there you go. Top 10 hacks, little tricks and secrets to get the most from your credit card. For more information on all of these, do head to becleverwithyourcash.com. And for more ways to make the most of your credit card, check out these videos right here.